Hey guys, this is Michelle from Emamo. Today we're talking with Iva Donova, event manager at the Next Web. We talk about how understanding our audience affects the program, the importance of attendee feedback, and how even after 13 years they still make room to experiment and try new strategies. Welcome to the Emamo Show. Hey guys, we've got Iva Donova here from the Next Web conference. We're going to chat a little bit about her event. So thanks Iva for hopping on and having a conversation with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So just want to talk about, obviously, the Next Web conference, a big tech conference in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And really wanted to learn about, a little bit of background about the event for anyone who isn't familiar, and also kind of talk through the process of how you and your team get it started from day one to the actual day of the conference. So can you describe the Next Web conference to someone who's never attended before?
Yeah, sure. So TNW conference is our flagship event that we do every year in Amsterdam. And it's usually in May or June when the weather is good in Amsterdam. And it's actually started 2006. But it started as a really small event from our founders, Boris and Patrick. I think it was an event for about 300 people. So now it grew to 20,000 people. We're expecting to have 20,000 attendees next year. So it is, quite a big event. It's a tech conference. So we have a lot of people attending, obviously from the Benelux, from Europe, but also we have a lot of attendees coming from the US and from other parts of the world. And our conference, basically, the content is focused on different tracks. So we cover AI, machine learning, we have design, marketing. So there is everything for everyone. And we also have different programs at the conference, like a startup program where we invite different startups in different sectors to pitch or to showcase their products at our business floor. We partner up with a lot of corporates and other clients. We have a lot of investors coming in as well to sort of connect with startups. So it's all about bringing people together and helping them out to do the right networking, have fun, because I think I may strongly say that we are not the regular conference, because we really try to be like a fun and interactive event. So we also have, throughout the week of the conference, we have a lot of side events, we have a lot of music events. So we try to keep it also to have a lot of fun, so people so they don't feel like they're in the office doing some work. So they're actually, have fun.
Oh, that's awesome. So for you guys, obviously the Next Web, for anyone who's unfamiliar, is also like a website that's reporting a lot of kind of up-to-date news. Who are the attendees? I know you mentioned, is it kind of that mix? It sounds like a mix of both, like companies who are there for networking and like people who are already in tech. So it's mostly tech. Do you find there's a lot of overlap with the readers of your of the website that attend, or are they almost kind of separate?
Yeah, absolutely. There is quite a big overlap, and I think we try to sort of connect our media brand as well with our conference. For instance, we have content media brands, which is called Hard Fork, and it's entirely about blockchain. So we decided, because we saw that there is a big interest from our audience in the conference as well into this topic, we've decided to have a track at the conference for this particular audience. So that's quite successful, and actually because of that, we decided to have a different, smaller event entirely related to blockchain, fintech, crypto. So that's been going on already for 2 years. So we are trying to find ways into like streamlining, seeing what our readers are interested in, that we can also incorporate in our events.
Totally.
And I think that is our strength.
Right, because you already know what people are engaging with, and kind of you're always on the cutting edge of what people are talking about.
Yeah. And that's also how, so for instance, we're not only doing the flagship conference, we have other events throughout the year. So we also look into what our attendees are interested in, which tracks are most interesting for them. And then we sort of look into our speaker database and client database. We see which are the top ones that that would be interesting for our audience. And from then we sort of do research, and we try to create a strategy to create a new event around that.
Yeah, cool. So okay, so I know, so Hard Fork was a track at the Next Web conference, and now is of course like the Hard Fork Summit, which is a fall event you guys hold. What made you guys push it over? Like, we're gonna have a new track, we're gonna try this. There's interest in blockchain fintech. Was it just that particular track got so popular that you thought your team was, this makes sense to move to its own summit?
Yeah, well, I think in a way we also experimented in the first.
Awesome.
It was, I think, the first time we actually did a separate event around a particular track. So blockchain at that time, 2 years ago, when we did the event for the first time, was obviously
huge.
It was blockchain and crypto, so that was, and we did it in London. So we had a lot of partners involved, and London, of course, is the finance capital of Europe, so it was the perfect place to do it. And it turned out to be quite successful. This year we decided to do it in Amsterdam, and again we changed a little bit the focus. It was more fintech and business related rather than crypto. So we also experiment a little bit to see what would be interesting for the people. So there is no real script, of how to know what's
you just kind of trying something new. That's really cool.
It's been working. I mean, obviously there is a strategy behind it,
right? But it's more. Oh, that's so cool. I love that. I mean, like, you guys have been throwing events as an organization for 13 years, and there's still that room to experiment and try something new, and kind of like, have that audacity to be like, oh yeah, we'll see if this works. I love that. That's so cool, because so many, that's for me what I think is great about events. No matter how much you plan, there's always going to be something. You have to just like be able to be flexible and try something new, and be brave to do that. So that's really cool. Before the event actually takes place, what is your team? Do you guys have like kind of set goals for a particular event? Like, how does your team determine if an event was successful or not? Whether that's building leads or awareness or, content, or kind of how do you guys determine that internally?
Good question. Of course, that's I think it's very strongly related to the revenue, of course.
Of course,
but no, I mean, that's not the most important thing that determines our success. But I mean, we of course look into. I mean, for us, it's most important the people that have attended to have a good feedback about the event. So we really strongly look into that and their whole experience. So if we see something didn't work, then we need to change it. So we take these things seriously. We take our attendees' feedback very serious. So for us, that is very important. And if the majority says we've done a good job, then we believe that this is true. And it's also from a speaker perspective. It's all about creating a good experience for them as well, because they're our main ambassadors, right? So I think for us, having this sort of successful finish and hearing good feedback from our attendees is, for us, is what success looks like.
That's awesome. Totally. So obviously 20,000 attendees, that's a lot of attendees, a lot of humans. How do you guys, just talking about the feedback, like how do attendees generally reach out to your team? Do you do post-event like questionnaires? Like how do you guys start kind of asking for that feedback from whether it's your attendees or speakers?
Yeah, so of course, after every event, we send out a simple survey with a couple questions, and we're hoping that people will be
take the time
to fill it out. So yeah, in most cases, we have a great response rate, NPS score, which is great. A lot of our speakers are also recurring speakers, as well as the attendees. We have a lot of super loyal attendees that have been attending since we've started, which speaks a good thing, of course, about the event. So yeah, we really appreciate that. And yeah, this is more or less the way we get insights from our attendees, and we count on them to give us honest feedback.
Yeah, very cool. I love that. And I love that when you mentioned you guys have attendees that have been attending since its inception. Like that's so important, like that community around the event, like because then they trust you guys, they trust that you'll listen to their feedback. Like I love that. Like whether it's tech conferences or teacher education events, like building that community and that trust is so important about growing the event, right? Like that's so cool.
Yeah, and I speak from a perspective of a customer success because before starting as an events manager, I was actually customer success. So I was dealing with all that. So for me, it was quite an important task, right? Be able to understand our customers, our attendees, and knowing learning more about their experience. This was super important for me. So yeah.
Oh, totally. I also have a background like customer support, customer success, and like that's so key to like understanding that their feedback and making sure that they're happy. That's so important to like extending the life of your product, your event, whatever, right?
And actually, one thing to add about this, apart from the survey, I also took for 2 years in a row, I reached out to a couple of our attendees and I tried to schedule calls with them to get more in-depth feedback. So luckily, people are happy to give their feedback, no matter if they had a bad or a good time. They know that they will help if they share their feedback. So it was great. I was super happy that I did it, and I wish I had more time to do more. But it was a good start, and I think because a survey, I mean, you can get good insights, but if you want to have more in-depth conversation, then you really need to start talking to people.
And digging into more than just their like kind of one sentence reply or 5 stars out of 5 stars.
Yeah, and we found some really valuable insights out of these things, which made us change certain things in our strategy or the things that we were doing at the event. So it's really important talking to your customers and to your attendees. So
yeah, totally. I think that's kind of part of that post-event, right? There's sort of a process to events, right? There's pre-event planning. Everyone's stressed on we're getting it together. You have the event itself, making sure it's running smoothly, and then so much, you can never neglect that like end point, right? Like that finish, are attendees having a good time? Or did speakers enjoy speaking? That kind of stuff. And that
it is a fun moment though, because obviously there is such a huge build-up moment to the event, and then when it's finally finished, you are like, okay, what now? But there's so much still to do. So yeah, it's never ending. It's like a cycle,
It's definitely something I've heard. Yeah, it's just like so one of my questions is always kind of for you guys, obviously, the next web is happening over the summer, June 18th, 2020. It's December now. What is that first step? I mean, obviously, we know we're kind of continuing the cycle, but planning for this upcoming event, like what's the first thing you guys do?
Well, after the survey, we've done all that. We gathered feedback. So then comes the process of looking into our content, the tracks that we had. And then, it's sort of a research process when we check which contents were successful, which other content we can add that will be relevant for the audience. So that's quite a long process of researching around different topics and seeing what's at the moment what is relevant. And then of course it takes time until you write the abstracts, the explanation, the whole subtopics and things like that. So that takes months. And the program team is busy the entire time already with recruiting speakers and getting them on board. But of course, the first most important thing is to have defined the different tracks so you can actually dive into finding the right speakers for those specific tracks.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So at the moment we're at more or less finalized, of course, this contest, the tracks, and we're about to announce them in the coming weeks. And we have already booked some speakers. We have confirmed them. And now we're more or less at full speed ahead, getting partners on board and rolling out our starter program, our investor program, and basically trying to get everyone in. And excited for the event. Of course, we were just recently in October, end of October was our Hard Fork Summit event. So that was taking a lot of our time.
Yeah.
So now we have shifted our entirely. And there is a lot going on at the moment. Towards in those months, we're pretty much prepping all of our campaigns, getting partners on board. So we also have different campaigns like Women in Leadership, and we are also trying to attract more younger people under 30 to attend our event. So we have a campaign around that. Also developers. So it's all things going on.
Things. Yeah, wow.
Often difficult to find to keep track of everything. But I mean, for the past few years since I've joined, I've been at the Next Web for 2.5 years now. So there are certain things that changed, but within the campaigns and the tracks, obviously, we try to expand, but there is a lot of things that we see, okay, they're working, and we just keep doing them, we improving them, of course. But a lot of the things we are doing at the moment, we have already done. So it's just improving them and making them better, right?
Right. That's awesome. Just kind of touching back on something you mentioned earlier about that process. So your team, at the Next Web, already plan the tracks. So when you guys start, obviously you've already done this part, but at the moment you start deciding on content. So you guys have the tracks, and then do you reach out to speakers that might fit those tracks? I'm assuming it's not like proposals like, oh, I'd love to speak on this, or does that happen? What does that look like?
So our program team is basically, once we have defined the tracks, and of course we have already a speaker database, so we have some contacts, but we often reach out to new people that are leaders in the certain industries that we are looking at. So often it requires a lot of research and it's just our team, program team behind their laptops, researching on LinkedIn and looking at other talks and reading articles, then we are just reaching out to them with the proposition, with
Mhm.
the track idea and the topic idea that
Mhm.
we want to get them on board with. And yeah, it's up to them, of course. It's super transparent.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is basically connected to the tracks that we're doing. Yeah, I, I think 2 years ago we actually introduced the different tracks, because
Mm.
previously it was all the content was kind of categorized by the different stages we had, but now
Oh,
we
I
actually
see.
have decided to streamline them to different content tracks like machine learners, AI, design, marketing.
Mhm.
So we have these different topics. And yeah, we started with 18, I think, 2 years ago, but then
Wow.
I realized, okay, 18 is a bit too overwhelming for people. They are just not physically able to go to all of them. And
Mhm.
I mean, when you have 2 days, you can only go to um, like a
So
few.
many. Yeah. Yeah.
So okay, we took this as a learning point. So we decided, okay, let's break them down to fewer tracks um, that are really interesting and important for our
Mhm.
audience. So far is working good, but yeah,
That's
this is
crazy.
more or less the process. Yeah, we started.
Yeah. And you're
Um,
just refining it as like the years go on. Like it's worked for you
and
guys.
of course,
Cool.
I mean, on the main stage, we have massive stage that holds up to 3,000 people. So on
Wow.
this stage, it's often we have different very big speakers, big names. Like
Mhm.
last year, we had Guy Kawasaki. So we look into more inspirational speakers, leaders that can share their story. And then on the other stages, we sort of break them down per tracks.
Oh, I see. That's so cool.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's also like a good way for speakers also to meet with others that are interested in those specific
mhm.
topics, other speakers that are attending the event speaking for this particular topic. So
Mhm.
yeah, it is sort of connected in different.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I know you guys, obviously there's like a lot of people and a lot of teams
Yeah.
involved putting this together. What can you speak to some of the tools you guys use? Is it a lot of like like stuff you guys have built internally to help manage the programming, like the online schedule,
Mhm.
even the feedback surveys you guys send out? Like, are there certain tools you guys use? Or, I mean, obviously you guys are at a scale,
Yeah.
did your team have an engineering team build something that an
Yeah, that's
internal
right.
toolkit?
Yeah, we have a lot of tools that we're
Yeah.
that we're using. For instance, one of our biggest sort of projects that we've built throughout the years is our ticketing and registration system, which is called Early Bird. Basically, that is the main tool that we used and our attendee database,
Mhm.
where we have everyone, all their tickets being registered, all our main communication with attendees. So they're basically all the updates that our attendees receive is being more or less sent from Early Bird. But
Mhm.
for the more common um, marketing campaigns, we use MailChimp. So
Classic.
I mean, I'm not even speaking about using Google Sheets,
Mhm.
because we're still using that part of our work. So yeah, there is obviously lots of room for improvement there, but
Mhm.
we're a small company,
Totally.
120 people. We still use the classic,
Oh, of course.
but we also have others like we have a live chat that is available on our website to basically get questions from our attendees or from
Oh, okay.
in the conference or our events. So yeah, we have then a customer support person who is handling those requests on a daily basis. We have an Airtable account that we use for our speaker database, and then other teams use tools like Pipedrive and other project management tools. But we don't have a really like one consistent tool yet, which we are looking to change because as you grow, you need a better way of structuring your information.
Of course.
So this hopefully will improve for us as of next year.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, that's definitely something as your event, when you start you start small, everything is kind of in all these places, and as you grow, it's hard to work to maintain it across a different number of platforms. It's hard. It's like more work for your team, you know what I mean?
Well, I think we have quite a big advantage having our own in-house built ticketing platform in the past 2 years to build our networking app. So we're improving that. It is very difficult to build a networking app.
Oh yeah.
We thought, okay, we can do this, we got it. But when we build an app for 20,000 people using it, that's
a whole other set of problems you don't even think about.
Exactly.
Separate from features, right? It's just, will this work?
It's really cool that we have that, and we decided to do it ourselves. Because of course it's easy to find another company to help you with that, but it's even more sweet when you can do it yourself.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you guys, we talked a little bit about the process for your team, obviously the post event. So like what's the first thing you guys announce? Is it like the dates? Do you already know the dates even when the last conference ends, or what is that first announcement for the upcoming event? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, well, it changes because obviously last year we were at another venue. We were in a park here in Amsterdam, but outgrew it. We needed more space. So then we started looking for another areas in Amsterdam, and that took a while. So for instance, we weren't able to announce our dates for a few months after the conference was held. But announcing our dates is basically the main thing that we want to announce after the event. So when we moved to the new location, we already knew more or less the dates for the next year to come, because this is something it's always a bit of a struggle with every event organizer to have a clear vision of the next year and when you can do the event again. That is the first thing we do, and we have of course other campaigns, campaigns for those that want to join again. So we have another like a pre-sale round, and normally the best thing is to already have something to announce, like a big speaker name or something that is going to happen again next year. But it's usually we try to find something that would drive people to return. So it's always different, and you can't plan it that much.
I mean, that makes sense, right? Like the date is often the first thing you'll know, and then after that it becomes sort of, who did you book, what does your programming team decide, all that kind of thing.
Last year the first major thing we announced was actually the change of location, right? Because we moved to location. So that was the great story, great momentum to share. So who knows what we are.
That's cool. No, I love that. And so kind of like, kind of touching briefly on, we don't have to go in super detail, but like, what does day one of the actual event look like for your team? Like you've done all this work all year, prepping, the anticipation, the stress, right? And then you're day one, you're at the new venue, or you're at,
Yeah.
what does that look like for you
Wow.
guys?
Well, first day it's always quite stressful. Everyone's running around. Your phone is going off the whole time. You see thousands of messages, and it is pretty crazy. And I think the first like half day of day one, it is always like quite stressful, and you try to keep sane and to have control over what's going on. It's always quite overwhelming, but towards the end of the day it's usually it gets normal again. Then the next day it goes much smoother, because then
Everything settled.
everything settles. It's first day it's always like you putting fires here and there, and
Of course,
try to make sure everything runs well. We joke around that we're happy to have 2 days of conference because we can actually enjoy the second day, because it's always crazy.
so busy first day, hopefully settles the second day, and then you kind of just go straight into that post event, like we talked about before, like the success, reaching out to people. Just for me, I'm curious, because like I also came from this background of customer success. Like, do you think that's affected how you approach the event managing side of it? Like, do you feel like maybe you're more aware of like that, the attendee, the value of the attendee feedback, and that like that they feel good and happy, or has that kind of been has that been a value already when you kind of started doing the events with the Next Web?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's played a big role for me starting as a customer success. It also helped me a lot to understand how our company works and to learn more about our audience, our attendees. So now when I'm asked for an advice, or when we're working on specific strategies, I can always take this back, from what I've learned and from what I know about our attendees. It's definitely something that can help me when we are planning and when we are organizing our next events.
Yeah,
It was definitely a good start. It was great learning process. So I feel a lot more confident now when working in more in depth into the events. I definitely feel more confident having that background.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as a person who has like worked at events and also attended events, like that's so much of an event's success, like you talked about, is like, did people like it? If people didn't like it.
It's that simple. This is the most simple question you can ask, but it's actually the most important one, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it can be so easy to be overlooked when you're getting bogged down in the like, oh no, we need to book this person, and oh, this like, are people happy at the end? And like that's I love that. Yeah. Like even just like for me, the magic of being at an event, like we spoke about it in Portugal, is like the getting to meet other people, and like that experience, like having that, like putting people together, making sure that's a valuable, rewarding experience, like speaks so much to me, like, did I enjoy that event or not? Of course, programming is a huge part of it, but it's also, I love that. I love that you guys focus on that.
Yeah, it's also meeting the right people and creating the right connections, right? So for us, we are throughout the different programs that we have, we really try to get interesting and people that would be valuable to one another throughout our startup program, for instance, our investors. So we really try to find a way to connect them, and to know that the right people will be there to meet each other, and to create some long-lasting relationships, because that is another successful moment, right? When you know that you have helped other people meet and create valuable relationships.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. Good luck. I know you guys are diving into a couple insane months before before the summer, but thanks again. Bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in this week, and thanks again to Iva Donova for sharing how the Next Web stays connected with their attendees and how it affects our conference strategy. Find links to their event in our show notes and visit us at emamo.com. That's emamo.com. See you next time.